Can you feel that deep, violent, low-frequency rumble shaking the concrete beneath your feet? Welcome back to the ultimate destination for classic vehicles. Today, we are completely throwing away the rule book. We are counting down the top 10 greatest American muscle cars of all time. But listen closely, we are not just talking about shiny paint jobs. We are talking about pure, unfiltered, terrifying horsepower. We are diving deep into bitter brand rivalries, auction shockers, and exposing street-legal monsters. Hit that subscribe button and let us begin. Let us completely shatter a massive automotive myth right out of the gate. The 1964 Pontiac GTO was never officially supposed to exist. Back in the early 1960s, General Motors management had enforced a strict corporate ban. No engine larger than 330 cubic inches was allowed in their mid-size cars. But a rebellious chief engineer named John DeLorean looked at those corporate rules, laughed, and decided to exploit a massive loophole. He bypassed the ban by offering a monstrous engine as an option. Underneath the hood, this pioneer of power was an absolute mechanical revelation. When equipped with the legendary Tri-Power setup, featuring 3 Rochester 2-barrel carburetors, this rogue machine was aggressively pumping out a factory-rated 348 horsepower. When you mashed the throttle to the floor, the mechanical linkage ripped the secondary carburetors wide open. It delivered a massive surge of fuel and air that violently pinned you back into the vinyl seat. It weighed nearly 3,500 pounds but moved like a lightweight sports car. The GTO was not just a fast car, it was a cultural rebellion on 4 wheels. It sparked an all-out horsepower arms race in Detroit, forcing Ford and Chrysler to completely panic and rethink their entire engineering strategies. It proved that the youth of America were desperately hungry for cheap, raw speed, effectively creating the muscle car segment overnight. The GTO started the fire, but our next car proved that you didn't need a massive footprint to destroy egos at a local stoplight. When you think of classic muscle, you usually picture massive, sprawling steel bodies. But Chevrolet decided to flip the script entirely and build the ultimate sleeper. They took their unassuming, compact, grocery-getting chassis and forcefully crammed a monstrous 396 cubic inch big block V8 right between the narrow shock towers. From the outside, it looked like a harmless commuter car. But underneath, it required a heavy-duty suspension and a bulletproof 12-bolt rear axle just to handle the sheer rotational force waiting to be unleashed. The pure mathematics of the 1968 Nova SS made it a living nightmare for the competition. Producing a blistering 375 horsepower in a car weighing around 3,200 pounds created a power-to-weight ratio that was practically illegal. The torque delivery was so vicious and instantaneous that the lightweight rear end would struggle violently for traction. It spun the bias ply tires into a thick, toxic cloud of white smoke at the absolute slightest provocation on any piece of smooth asphalt. At a red light, a confident driver in a heavier, far more expensive luxury muscle car would glance over at the compact Nova and smirk. But the moment the light turned green, that smirk turned into sheer panic as they stared at the Nova's taillights disappearing into the distance. Straight-line speed is truly amazing, but what happens when Chevrolet decided to build a high-revving V8 brawler specifically designed to absolutely dominate the sharp corners and twisty tracks of professional road racing across the United States? Forget everything you know about massive big blocks and straight-line drag racing. The 1969 Camaro Z28 was bred for a completely different kind of violent battlefield. Chevrolet designed this absolute masterpiece with one singular, aggressive purpose. It was built to completely dominate the legendary Trans Am road racing series. To meet strict homologation rules, they had to build a highly specialized, high-revving street brawler. It prioritized incredible chassis balance, razor-sharp steering, and maximum revolutions per minute over the raw, lazy displacement found in heavier cars. The beating heart of the Z28 was the mythical 302 cubic inch V8. Chevrolet engineers essentially took a heavy-duty block and paired it with a Ford short-stroke crankshaft. The result was a mechanical banshee that loved to scream. officially rated at a hilariously conservative 290 horsepower to appease insurance companies. True motorheads knew it was easily pushing well north of 350 horsepower when you revved it past 6,500 RPM on the racetrack. Driving a 69 Z28 was a deeply visceral, physically demanding experience. You had to work the heavy clutch, row through the notoriously tough Muncie 4-speed manual transmission, and keep the engine speed incredibly high to access its true power. It weighed roughly 3,300 pounds, making it an agile predator. While the Camaro was busy dominating the twisty tracks, our next manufacturer was spending massive amounts of money just to buy the legal rights to a cartoon bird's recognizable voice. By the late 1960s, muscle cars were getting extremely heavy, bloated with expensive luxury options, and completely out of reach for the average blue-collar teenager. Plymouth saw this dangerous trend and aggressively dragged the industry back to its gritty, bare-knuckle roots. They introduced the Roadrunner, a car born from a ruthless, budget-minded philosophy. They stripped out the heavy sound deadening, they threw away the thick carpets, and they invested every single penny into building an indestructible drivetrain meant for pure quarter-mile destruction. Here is where Plymouth pulled off one of the most brilliant marketing moves in history. They paid Warner Brothers a staggering $50,000, an absolute fortune at the time, just for the legal rights to use the cartoon name. They even engineered a specialized horn that mimicked the iconic beep-beep sound. Beneath that playful exterior, however, was a deadly serious machine. The standard engine was a potent 383 cubic inch V8, pushing out a robust 335 raw horsepower. The Roadrunner was a raw, vibrating steel box of pure aggression weighing 3,400 pounds. It offered zero creature comforts, but with a Hurst 4-speed shifter in your hand, it delivered terrifying acceleration. It could easily hit over 110 miles per hour in a straight line. It was a massive hit. But Plymouth had a major success, and there was absolutely no way their corporate sibling Dodge was going to sit back and watch without starting a ruthless family war. Corporate rivalry is a beautiful thing, especially when it produces asphalt-shredding monsters. Seeing Plymouth dominate the budget muscle market, Dodge executives were absolutely furious. They demanded their own stripped-down, high-performance Warrior, and they wanted it to look meaner, wider, and far more intimidating. Based on the mid-size Coronet chassis, the Dodge Super Bee was born into the legendary Scat Pack family. It was Dodge's aggressive, slightly more premium answer to the Roadrunner, completely turning up the dial on visual attitude and street intimidation. The Super Bee did not mess around when it came to verified firepower. The true legends were born when buyers opted for the devastating A12 package in mid-1969. This gave you the legendary 440 cubic inch 6-pack engine. Featuring an aluminum intake manifold and 3 massive Holley carburetors, it produced 390 horsepower. Sitting under a giant matte black fiberglass liftoff hood, it breathed so much fuel that idling felt like standing next to a living, breathing predator. Weighing in at over 3,800 pounds, this heavy brawler could launch to 60 miles per hour in just under 6 seconds. We are officially entering the top 5, where the horsepower gets ridiculous and the auction prices get completely insane. Before we reveal these kings, drop a comment below. Are you Team Chevy, Team Ford, or Team Mopar? The Super Bee was loud and brash, but what if you wanted bone-crushing torque wrapped in a custom-tailored, sophisticated gentleman's tuxedo? Oldsmobile was historically known for building quiet, comfortable cars for doctors and business executives. But in 1970, General Motors lifted their displacement bans, and Oldsmobile decided to unleash the ultimate gentleman's muscle car. The 442 was a sophisticated, beautifully designed machine that perfectly balanced high-end luxury with terrifying, relentless speed. It was the exact car you drove comfortably to an exclusive country club during the day, and then used to completely embarrass reckless street racers on the boulevard late at night. The absolute pinnacle of this beast was the W30 package. Oldsmobile engineers essentially blueprint balanced the massive 455 cubic inch V8 directly from the factory, They added a radical high-lift camshaft, a specialized quadrajet carburetor, and a lightweight fiberglass hood featuring massive functional dual air scoops. It delivered a smooth, endless wave of devastating torque, officially rated at a staggering 500 pound-feet. It easily pumped out 370 horsepower, burying the speedometer past 115 miles per hour. Driving the 442 W30 was a strange exercise in luxurious terror. Weighing nearly 3,900 pounds, you sat in plush bucket seats while the massive big block effortlessly spun the rear tires through all 3 gears. It was heavy, stable, and remarkably quiet until you pushed the throttle wide open. Oldsmobile successfully brought high society luxury to the drag strip. But over at Ford, they were extremely busy building an aerodynamic spaceship specifically designed to dominate NASCAR ovals. Ford was not about to let General Motors rule the streets unchecked. They needed a direct aerodynamic missile aimed straight at the heart of Chevy and Dodge. The completely redesigned 1970 Torino Cobra was their ultimate weapon. With a sleek wind-cheating fastback roofline and an aggressive low-slung stance, the Torino Cobra looked like it was breaking the speed limit while parked. It was heavily influenced by Ford's racing efforts, where cutting through the air was becoming just as important as generating raw engine power. Beneath that iconic vibrating shaker hood scoop lay the legendary 429 cubic inch Super Cobra jet engine. This was a massive block power plant utilizing huge valve heads designed for maximum high RPM breathing. Rated at 375 horsepower, it featured a solid lifter camshaft, an engine oil cooler, and ultra-steep 4.30 rear-end gears. Weighing roughly 4,000 pounds, this heavy bruiser could surprisingly blast through the quarter-mile in 13.9 seconds at over 100 miles per hour. The Torino Cobra was a very heavy, substantial car, but the Super Cobra jet engine moved that mass with a terrifying sense of urgency. It was a brutal, uncompromising machine that solidified Ford's dominance in the muscle car wars of the new decade. Ford proved they could build a massive midsize monster for the common man. But a few years earlier, a legendary Texan took a simple pony car and turned it into a multi-million-dollar holy grail that redefined American performance. Carroll Shelby was an automotive visionary who knew exactly how to inject venom into a standard vehicle. While the original Mustangs were cute, sporty cars, Shelby wanted a terrifying monster. The 1967 GT500 was his masterpiece, completely transforming the pony car into an aggressive, heavily muscled predator. Today, these cars are the undisputed crown jewels of the collector world. A vehicle that originally cost around $4,000 is now crossing auction blocks for well over $250,000. The heart of this expensive beast was the brutally heavy 428 cubic inch Police Interceptor V8 engine. Crowned with dual Holley 4-barrel carburetors, this was not a high-revving track engine. It was an absolute sledgehammer of low-end torque. Pumping out an advertised 355 horsepower and 420 pound-feet of torque, it was designed to consume long stretches of highway. Top speed was a frightening 128 miles per hour, pulling a heavy weight of 3,800 pounds. Piloting a 67 GT500 was a heavy, incredibly mechanical experience. The steering required serious physical muscle, the heavy-duty clutch was incredibly stiff, and the intense heat radiating from the big block into the cabin was overwhelming. The aggressive fiberglass front end made it look menacing from every angle. The Shelby is a wealthy collector's absolute dream today, but our runner-up is a dark pop culture god that was legitimately terrifying to drive fast on public roads during its glory days. If there was ever a vehicle that completely captured the dark, rebellious soul of the entire muscle car era, it is the 1969 Dodge Charger RT. With its menacing hidden headlights, the iconic Coke bottle styling, and a rear end that looked a mile wide, it was a breathtaking visual masterpiece. It owned Hollywood, starring in legendary chases and becoming a permanent television icon. But beneath the glamorous orange paint jobs lies a terrifying, verified reality that most people simply choose to ignore entirely. Driving a Charger equipped with the massive 426 cubic inch Hemi Elephant motor at its limit was a near-death experience. This specialized racing engine pushed out a verified 425 horsepower. It could easily propel this 4,000-pound steel boat well past 130 miles per hour. But it sat on an ancient suspension system with skinny bias-ply tires. The antiquated drum brakes completely faded under heavy use, making stopping from triple digits an absolute game of Russian roulette. It was raw, it was wildly unfiltered, and it was unapologetically dangerous to operate. The sound of a Hemi-powered Charger screaming at full throttle is a violent mechanical symphony that shakes your internal organs. Trying to tame this beast on wet pavement was nearly impossible due to the explosive torque. The Charger is an absolute legend of the street and screen, but there can only be one true king. Prepare yourself for the undisputed apex predator of the entire muscle car golden age. This is it, the absolute peak, the mountaintop. Just before federal emission regulations stepped in to kill the muscle car era forever, Chevrolet decided to go out with the biggest, most devastating bang possible. They finally lifted their strict ban on massive engines in mid-size cars, and the direct result was the 1970 Chevelle SS 454. It possessed the ultimate combination of aggressive, incredibly muscular proportions and unmatched, brutal factory firepower. It didn't just beat the competition, it completely annihilated them. The fearsome legend of the Chevelle rests entirely on the mythical LS6 V8 engine option. Built with extreme solid lifters and a massive Holley carburetor, Chevrolet officially claimed it produced 450 horsepower. But let us be clear, that was a massive, deliberate lie to keep insurance executives calm. Anyone testing an original LS6 knows this fire-breathing power plant was pushing closer to 500 real horsepower. Pushing a weight of 3,900 pounds, it felt weightless. Dropping the hammer in an LS6 Chevelle was a violent, earth-shattering event. The front end would violently lift toward the sky, the rear tires would scream in agony, and the sheer G-force would instantly blur your vision. It was the final triumphant roar of the golden era, holding the highest factory horsepower rating of its time. Capable of hitting 60 miles per hour in 5 seconds, it stands alone. It is the undisputed, unkillable king of the American streets forever. There you have it. The rawest, most powerful, and historically verified American muscle cars ever built. We have completely explored the heavyweights, from lightweight street brawlers to the massive big block kings pushing past 130 miles per hour. Which of these legendary V8 monsters would you personally park in your dream retro garage? Let us know in the comments section below. If you felt the horsepower shaking your screen today, smash that like button and subscribe to the channel right now. Keep the pedal to the metal, and we will see you in the next high-octane video.